I want to show you this.
Are
This
you
is
guys just going to keep burning me? Are you going to keep showing me my old footage? It's like, okay, explain yourself, Frank.
That is the only old footage of your show.
That's the only old footage.
That's
I have a guy here, Chris Murphy, obviously senator from Connecticut. He put out a big tweet thread in response to this Trump victory. That was a cataclysm. Electoral map wipeout. Senate Dems practical ceiling is now 52 seats. Republicans is 62. Time to rebuild the left. I love how he acts as if he speaks for the left in this in this thread, right? As if the Democrats have not sabotaged the left for the last 40 years. We are out of touch with the crisis of meaning, purpose, fueling MAGA. We refuse to pick big fights. Our tent is too small. Some early thoughts. This goes by fairly quickly.
Hey, but he's actually not wrong about this, I mean, look at this.
No, I mean, not necessarily. It's unfortunately about 10 years too late, which I'll get to. The left has never fully grappled with the wreckage of 50 years of neoliberalism, which has left legions of Americans adrift as local places are hollowed out, rapacious profit-seeking cannibalizes the common good, and unchecked new technology separates.
That is correct.
And isolates us. Yeah. Of course. The things that mattered are disappearing. We spent half as much time with friends as a generation ago. Hard work no longer guarantees economic mobility. Institutions like churches are delegitimized. Place-based identity evaporates as we all become global citizens. Now, that's kind of interesting because that's really the Trump critique, that's sort of like the anti-globalism, which is giving a nod to there as well. Do you remember
that was the word globalization was one of the sort of keywords in this whole transformation of the Democratic Party. That was Clinton was uniquely attuned. Bill Clinton would say he was uniquely attuned to globalism, to globalization. It was really annoying at the time. I'm older than you guys, but it was fucking annoying back. Sorry. Am I allowed to curse?
Of course. We're kind of known for it, Thomas.
Yeah, it was annoying at the time, and now looking back, and they're like, "Oh man, I really regret that."
It's amazing. Well, it goes on. The left skips past the way people are feeling, alone, impotent. I mean, TMI there, Chris. Overwhelmed and straight to uninspiring solutions. More roads, bulk drug purchasing that do little to actually upset the status quo of who has power and who doesn't. Does racism explain part of the attraction of the right's nativism? Of course, but mass deportation is a parentheses terrible. He's even adopting the Trump manner of his tweet game, which is random parentheses.
All caps.
Yeah. Terrible response to Americans' real sense they are helpless in the face of global forces like increased migration. The left largely ignores this pain. We don't listen enough. We tell people what's good for them. I love this part. And when progressives like Bernie aggressively go after the elites that hold people down, they are shunned as dangerous populists. Shunned by who? Shunned by who? This reads a lot like Gaza school explodes, right? Is it like really explode? Who bombed the school? Why? Yeah. Maybe because true economic populism is bad for our high-income base.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Grinding teeth emoji. Meanwhile, men tumble into a different kind of identity crisis as the patriarchy, society's primary organizing paradigm for centuries, rightly crashes. The right pushes an alluring dial back. The left says, get over it. Again, a refusal to listen, offer responsible solutions. We cannot be afraid of fights, especially with economic elites who have profited off neoliberalism, like the ones who sign our checks. The right regularly picks fights with elites, Hollywood, higher ed, etc. Democrats, e.g. the Harris campaign, are tepid in our fights with billionaires and corporations. Real economic populism should be our tentpole. There you go. That's what Thomas Frank wrote a few books about that. But here's the thing. Then you need to let people into the tent who aren't 100% on board with us on every social and cultural issue.
Obvious. Yeah.
Yes. Or issues like guns or climate. Those are hard things for the left. A firm break with neoliberalism. Listen to poor and rural people, men in crisis, don't decide for them. Pick fights, embrace populism, build a big tent, be less judgmental. But we are beyond small fixes. So I tweeted out a response to this, that the Bernie Sanders campaigns addressed all of these points, and they were deliberately destroyed by people like you, Chris Murphy, who are just now realizing how wrong you were 10 years too late. Maybe a formal apology is in order as long as your reflecting, I think one of the opportunities of a Trump victory, and like I said, I think you were right at your most depressed. And Thomas, you may remember my moment at perhaps my most depressed was when we first interviewed you. And
when was that?
I screamed that fuck this, fuck the liberals, fuck the whole country. That was one of the most quotable lines that people like to read back.
Yeah,
to
but
me.
Wait a minute. Hey, now you've got me on the. Now I'm.
Well, now
be
I
the
got
optimist,
you where I want you.
right?
Exactly.
Right?
That's why we wanted you back.
You can be the pessimist, and I'll be the optimist.
Right, exactly.
Hey, that's a good sign that I don't know anything about Chris Murphy, and it's annoying that he refers to the Democrats as the left, but whatever. Sure. I'm willing to overlook that. And there's also, like that thing about masculinity. I don't know where that comes from. That one has not, but whatever. Brush all that by. That's really refreshing that that a guy like him has understood all this. That's actually really. That's good. I think
it's good to have these people on record admitting defeat. I don't, like I said, I agree with you in your darkest moment of not having any hope for the Democrats as a reformable entity, but I do think it's good having these pieces of garbage, quite frankly, on record admitting that they were wrong. And I think this could be potentially a flex for a movement that has certainly run its course. I mean, Bernie Sanders wants to come out now and talk about how the Democrats have screwed workers. He spent this entire campaign season touting Biden as the most progressive president since FDR. You take that for what it's worth. But what it is worth is an on-the-record admission that what started as a Bernie movement, largely, at least 9 years ago, was right all along. Yeah. I think it is good to have that on record from people like him. Yeah, that would be a nice gesture by this guy and by all the other people who are coming around, but they probably won't do it. And you just have to be willing to, you have to be willing to take victories where you find them, put it in your pocket, and keep moving. Can I tell you a funny? No, it's not funny. It's kind of awful. But the moment when I knew Biden was out, remember he had that awful debate performance and everybody was talking about how he had to go. And for a while, it looked like Biden was going to hang tough and refuse to withdraw. And the moment I knew he was done was when Bernie wrote that op-ed in the New York Times saying Biden has to stay. And I knew Biden was done because Bernie never gets what he wants. He never gets what he wants. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so something I'm seeing that's
a really good sign, by the way. You've made my day. I thank you guys. So I don't follow things like that, so I didn't know about that. That's great that they're actually showing some introspection. That's fantastic.
What this
result isn't
proved...
the first time though. They do have a tendency, even after 2016, for a minute. They do a little soul searching.
But then that's right. I remember that now. And that was
they had Bernie making the rounds and giving his insights. And then they went right back.
Then they blamed it on him. And they blamed it on the Russians. Do you remember that?
Well, Nancy Pelosi's already out there saying that she doesn't appreciate Bernie saying the Democrats abandon workers. Look, they are a party of capital. I think they will remain a party of capital until they are dismantled. That's my ultimate position on them.
The banks,
in terms of the broader conversation, though, I think what's obvious about the 2024 result is that 2016 was not a fluke. 2016 was the canary in the coal mine, and that 2020 was the fluke because of the pandemic. Yeah. This really pretty much proved that realignment is, if not permanent, at least lasting, and lasting for a long, long, long time, to the point where I don't think the Democrats are a viable national party anymore. I don't think they can recover from this. This is not a situation where we won the popular vote, but we blew it in Michigan by 10,000, Wisconsin 20,000. No, this was pretty sweeping. This was pretty sweeping because not only did you abandon workers, but the Republicans reoriented themselves such that they could take advantage of that and scoop them up. And it's going to take a very long time to have another realignment like this, I think.
Yes, and I hope that you're wrong, because I don't think Trump is going to do anything for
I don't think so either. No,
people. But I suspect that. Look, this is all we talk about here in my house the last week. All of my friends and I. This is all that we talk about, and I get all sorts of different points of view. And people remind me, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I can guess, but that Biden did take, the way I always put it, is Biden took baby steps in the right direction on this stuff. On
very
antitrust.
early on, he signaled that he
antitrust
wanted to.
They just
But then he went and broke a railroad strike.
Yes, he did. So, but he also was. He was, very pro-union, which we haven't seen in a Democrat since Johnson. And he, what's the third one? Well, yeah, all the massive spending bills. But the antitrust stuff really, I mean, it's by no means enough to win an election. It's not even close. It didn't even, and the Democrats didn't even mention it at their convention. By the way, I went to their convention again, wrote about it for a French newspaper, but like they won this monumental lawsuit against Google as an antitrust suit. They didn't even bring it up. It's like, well, it doesn't, we're not going to keep pounding on what
Well, they didn't tout a lot of things. I mean, they didn't tout anything. You had minimum wage proposals pass in deep red states. Kamala never mentioned the minimum wage once in the campaign.
Yep. Now that in my view, that killed her. She had now let's just to be to try to say nice things about the Democrats here. She has the skills. I was very skeptical when they chose her, but I was impressed by her ability. You saw her in the debate with Trump. She was very good. The problem is there were only two issues that she cared about. One was abortion. The other was Trump's threat, quote unquote, threat to democracy. Right. And the thing is, and she did an excellent job explaining those things. It's just so abortion, that's a strong issue, right? That was real strong for them. I think that was their, like the number 2 or number 3 issue for the public, but it wasn't enough. She's got to be able to explain, like, the good things that Biden was doing and show some determination to keep going down that road. She made zero, as far as I can tell, zero effort to do that once the convention was over. You never heard about it again. And not everybody was at. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. Yes, they blew it massively. I don't know how they come back after something like this. Except for actually, I do know. We all know how they come back. They come back when Trump screws it up. But will he? Right? They're counting on that. But will he? I mean, who knows? The first time around, he was so incompetent. But I think he's not going to make that same mistake twice.
First time he didn't have a mandate from working class people the way he does now.
That's correct.
I mean, now he does. If they were smart, they would raise the minimum wage. If the Republicans raised the minimum wage now, that would be it for the Democrats.
What if Trump got universal health care?
Well, he's not going to do that. But a minimum wage, look, red states are getting close to $15 an hour now. So if you're the Republicans, you're saying, hey, if we raise the minimum wage, if we bring that bill to a vote, the Democrats have to vote for it. They can't not vote for it. We whip a few GOPers into voting for it, even if we don't get our whole caucus to vote for it. We get a few of them to vote for it. Now Trump passes a $15 minimum wage after winning voters who make under $50,000 a year. That's it. The Democrats done.
Yeah. Done. It'd be triangulation in reverse.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's totally what we're describing here. But that's what the J.D. Vance speech was.
Yes, I agree.
So. I don't have a lot of high hopes for J.D. Vance, but goddamn, I mean, look, Democrats, look at what he just did.
Please clap.